Good evening, members of PVR community, and we are back Sunday night, season 1, round 3, and we are here down in Jeddah with Stinjap and Pink Eye going at it. The gloves are off. It's all tied up between the two of them with one race win apiece each. And who's got the pace to put that car on provisional pole position, winning the straight and winning this race to extend that gap out in front? Can anybody else do it? It's going to be Alpha currently in P3 on 25 points. And for your constructors, it's Ferrari leading Mercedes over 4 points. Ferrari on 75, thanks to a dominating performance by Bacardi on 68 points. JPE and War Daddy contributing with 15 and 14 points. Mercedes on 71 points. Contributed by Pink Eye is 44. And Alfa Romeo right on their heels on 44 points. Red Bull on 61. So it's going to be Saudi Arabia in Jeddah, a 6.1 kilometer track, 27 corners, 11 to the right, 16 to the left, taken at about 72% full throttle, and only 2.48 meters of elevations, the highest coming at turn 17. So who will have the pace to put that car on provisional pole? Of course, in Tier 2, it was going to be Kerry Cass who got that car on pole position on a 1 minute 27.246. Will we see anybody beat that time down here tonight? Well, with the skills that definitely might be broken. And as well, Derry slotting in the fastest lap of that race on a 1:29.932. Will anyone beat it? Only time will tell. But for now, we will set the grid for the sprint race. Who's got the pace to put that car on pole position? It's Sir Gat. Can he score some points for Red Bull to get them back into the contentions for this, for the constructors? Followed by Spyrus, Malfitz, Hugo, Pro Striker, Nerfpack, No Fandangle. There's going to be JPE in that Ferrari, followed by the almighty Grog. Zorro makes his return, and we all know he's got some serious pace and a definite contender to put that car at the front of the grid. True Loki substituting in for Tier 2, followed by Elite Town, Pink Eye, Technique, and Claymore. Now, Technique did manage a little bit of a argy-bargy start there for Tier 2 down in Jeddah. Can he find some redemption and get that car into the top 5? Anything can happen, and with 16 minutes still to go in this session, the story will unfold and be told. Who's got the pace to set that car on the front row of this grid? The sprint could be wet, and that can really make things extremely interesting. So as we now head to, it is going to be Hugo setting the pace just. And that's why you put your remote on charge, otherwise that happens. So as stated before, it is going to be Hugo setting the pace, just getting some temperatures into those tires of his. And let's see if he can beat the Tier 2 time that was set by Kerry Cass on a 1:27.246. Technique Cash already with a 5-place grid penalty, and JPE out of qualifying. What was that all about? So as Hugo now makes his way down the main straight, DRS will be activated. It's going to be fast. It's going to be sweeping left, sweeping right. Extremely narrow with these barriers right next to the track. No runoff areas at the majority of these corners as he goes through 1, 2, flat out through 3. Now, be careful for that inside barrier going through 4, flat out through 5. And just get back onto the throttle. Just flick left for 6, flick left for 8 again. And now, just dab on the throttle. Right the apex on entry and exit. Now it's going to be pedal to the metal, flat out for Hugo as he finishes sector 1 on a 32.8. Now coming into the sweeping left-hand corner. Feels like it sweeps forever, but he gets very good traction out of that corner, and away he goes once more. It's an extremely very fast track, followed by multiple corners coming at you at remarkable speeds. Just lifts on the throttle. Don't want to be running into the barriers. And Hugo, we will be spectating this lap. What will he do? This will be the benchmark lap for his first run, as he now goes in out of the second sector, runs a little bit wide. That will compromise lap time tremendously. Back onto this long straight. It's about 0.75 miles of straight. Going down into the hard braking zone of turn 27. Hard on the brakes, gear down to second or third gear. Get the car straightened out as soon as possible. Flat out on the throttle. DRS will be activated, and the time is ticking. It's going to be a 1 minute 29.6, and that is the benchmark. set by Hugo. Next across the finish line, it will be a very quick Zorro, only about to starting his next flyer. His first flyer. As your championship leader, equal on points with Stinjap, and I don't see him here tonight. I've only now noticed that. So, with the absence of Stinjap, Pink Eye can really run away on the points after this one. So, as we now go, it is going to be no Fandangle on a 1 minute 27.9. That only matches the fastest lap of the Tier 2 race set by Dairy, a 129.932. Through Loki on the pace on a 128.5. So next across the finish line, it will be championship leader Pink Eye, as DRS will be activated. Down the main straight he goes. Good enough for a 1 minute 28 flat. Only good enough for a front row start as things stand. Going down the order, it is going to be Threads now blasting his way out of 27. Onto the throttle he goes. DRS wide open. Will this be provisional pole position? Doesn't look like it will. No. Out-qualifies Pink Eye by 2/100ths of a second to go P2. Down the order, we will see the return of Pro Striker, only about to start a new flyer, followed by his teammate, only on an outlap. The Mercedes of Zorro as he blasts his way down the straight. This is looking good. A 1 minute 27.1, and that already beats the qualifying time set by Carrie Kaz in Tier 2 of a 127.246. Getting Zorro, that's the benchmark everybody will be pushing for, a 1 minute 27.1. What a great lap from the return of Zorro. As Hugo now makes his way into the pits, and I think the hash of that will be True Loki will join him. Grok currently sat in P6 on his way back to the pits for a brand new set of softs. Now, it will be interesting to see whether these drivers will opt for soft compound tires or mediums at the sprint. We have seen in Tier 2, of course, that some of the drivers did opt for a set of soft compound tires to go the 9 laps, and it worked out quite well for them. Of course, there was a safety car of 3 laps that really helped those softs just to nurse them home to the victory line. But if there is a safety car tonight, it might be the same. But as stated, it could be wet in the sprint, and that means things could be very interesting. As we now go to Threads, as he makes his way around the final bend, currently in P3, he will be going into the pits for a brand new set of softs, and the time is ticking, 11.5 minutes remaining of this qualifying session. Next across the finish line, it will be the Williams of Pro Striker. Currently, he is on an invalidation, but those batteries are fully charged. There's some beautiful temperatures into those tires, and away he goes. Fast across the finish line, and let's see what lap times Pro Striker can produce in that Williams as he goes into 1 and 2. Keeps a very nice and tidy line. Gets onto the throttle very, very quickly. Just ride the apex down into 3. Now the tricky left flick of turn 4, where a lot of drivers might run into the barriers and DNF their race. You can ask me, I know all about that. As he now goes into the sweeping left to right corners. Flick right again. Gear up into 6. Runs a little bit wide. He just has to compromise the acceleration before he invalidated, and that will compromise his lap, but still a 32.4. What a great first sector that is, although mistakes were made. As Pro Striker now blasts his way out of turn 7, flat out through 8. Just need to get the braking precise here and get that perfectly as he does. Get as close to the barriers for maximum time and speed, and this will help him down this very long straight with the assistance of DRS. So let's see, as Pro Striker comes to the end of Sector 2, it's going to be a 1 minute 0.5, and that is going to be purple Sector 2 for the moment. 0.76 miles of straight now with the assistance of DRS. Pro Striker seems to be having a very good lap. Hard on the brakes into turns 27, turn in quite quickly, get the car straightened out, back onto the throttle, and let's see, DRS opens. Going to 26, 27, 28. It's going to be good enough for P2 on a 1 minute 27.76. Still 6/10 clear of the pace of Zorro. But a very good returning lap for Pro Striker, currently occupying the front row of this grid. Right, as Hugo now goes for his next flyer, you'll see just getting some temperatures into the cars. Just aggressively flicking left to right on those new set of softs, and 9 minutes remaining in this qualifying session as Hugo activates DRS right now, and away he goes. Can he do anything to get that car up into the top 5? Only time will tell, as he now blasts its way down the main straight, hard onto the brakes. Runs a little bit too narrow over the curb. Might have cost him a couple of hundreds of seconds. But let's see, as he lifts and he coasts and he does abandon this lap. No, that was only the glitch. I almost thought he abandoned that lap. He run. Ooh, what's going on? Lobby is very glitchy. I don't like that. As he makes his way out of Sector 2, there's no improvements on his time. Currently 4/100ths of a second down on his time. Oh, sorry, down on his time. No improvements. As he now goes, get onto the brakes, get this turn precisely for maximum acceleration and maximum pace advantage down this long straight with the assistance of DRS. Hugo currently occupying the 5th row of this grid, currently sat in P10, being outqualified by Spyrus now as he goes into the final sector now. Once again, just runs a little bit too narrow, will compromise lap time once again, but only time will tell if this will be an improvement by the time he crosses the start-finish line. As he now makes his way into the last turn, 27, hard on the brakes, get as close to the barriers on the in-turn as possible. As he does, gets onto the throttle very smoothly. DRS activated. Will this be an improvement on his time? I believe it will. It goes onto a 1 minute 28.7 and only good enough for P9. What about the Mercedes? Pink Eye, as he crosses the line, starts a new flyer, followed by his teammate Zorro, currently sat in provisional pole. And does anybody have the pace to out-qualify Zorro? Sergat occupying the front row of the grid on a 1 minute 27.3. The only driver to beat the times of the Tier 2 drivers thus far is Zorro. As we now jump to the elite hound of CDR, he crosses the line, he stays P13. What about the Alfa Romeo of Technic Dash? He goes on to a 1 minute 26.9. Hello Technic. What an absolutely stellar of a lap that was. Out-qualifies Zorro by 0.2 of a second, about 1.5 tenths. And that's going to take some time to beat, as Zorro is now currently on a flyer, followed by his teammate. Will we see a purple Sector 2? No, we won't, but it is an improvement on his time by 0.2. What about championship leader Pink Eye? Improving his lap by 0.3 of a second thus far. Jumping to the Alfa Romeo of Threads. But this won't be invalidation, no. Only starting a new flyer. Jumping back to Pink Eye, currently occupying the 4th row of this grid. He now makes his way flat out through 26. Hard on the brakes through 27. Gets a very good insert into that last lap. He makes contact with the barriers. That'll compromise lap time. Will it be any improvement on his time, even though mistakes were made? Yes. Goes P3, and it all comes down now to Zorro on this second run. So did that potentially cost Pink Eye provisional pole position as Zorro crosses the line and he goes faster on a 126.8 provisional pole back into the advantage of Zorro, and it's looking very healthy for Team Mercedes. True Loki just backing out, no Dan Angle, followed by Pink Eye. And no one currently is on a flyer. Is it going to be Spyrus only starting a new flying lap right about now? Well, what an absolutely brilliant lap that was from Technique down in Tier 2. Getting that car into the 1 minute 29s, was unable to deliver that kind of pace for his Tier 2 race, but now into the 1 minute 26s. So as you can see, the Technique and Zorro separated by 1.5 tenths, and Pink Eye not too far down the road. But of course, did making contact with the barrier on the exit through turn 27 cost Pink Eye a possible potential provisional pole position. Spyrus just backs out of that lap after making a couple of mistakes. And I think he'll go back onto the charge, get some temperatures into those soft tires, and go for his final run. So, anybody currently on a flyer? It will be Sergat 14 Red Bull, currently occupying the 2nd row of this grid, just getting those temperatures and those tires into an optimal working order. So not a lot of drivers out on track to spectate. We had seen some very good laps currently, and Zorro beating the time set by the Tier 2 drivers currently held. It was held by Carikas on a 1:27.2, being broken by 3 drivers already of Zorro, 1:26.8, a 1:26.9 from Technic, a 1:27.1 from Pink Eye. And can Sergat have anything to say to get himself into the 1:26 as well, as he just concedes the position for, I think that will be Pro Striker? No, it's going to be Spyroos as he crosses the line, starts his final flying lap. So all attention now goes to Sergat as he blasts his way down the main straight. 3.5 minutes of qualifying is remaining before we have the sprint. Hard on the brakes into the chicane section of turns 1 and turns 2. Takes a very beautiful line to get as much acceleration out of that corner, and that looks like a very healthy first couple of corners for Sergat. Really just almost kissing the barriers through 4, flat out through 5, flat out through 6, what about 7? Hardly lifts through 8. Takes a very nice entry through 9, 10 and 11 as well. Will we see a purple sector 2? Crosses the line, purple sector 1, yes, already by 1/10 up on his time. And does he have anything to say to get that car on provisional pole for Team Red Bull, currently sat in P4 in the championship? Let's see how he will take this line now. Takes a beautiful line, fighting the car. You'll see that car sliding for grip, but beautifully being kept on track. Now it's going to be flat out with the assistance of DRS as it comes to the end of Sector 2. Will it be purple? Yes, it will. 1/10 improvement. It's all going to come down to Sector 3, who got a very good entry through those quick left and right corners. And now it's a sprint down the back straight, getting as close to the barriers as possible. Goes hard on the brakes. Gets the car turned in extremely quickly. Look at him getting onto that throttle. And Sergat means business as DRS goes open. Is it good enough for provisional? No! Misses out by 5/100ths of a second. What a beautiful lap by Sergat. Currently occupying the front row of this grid with Zorro. A stellar lap from Sergat there. She now sees Zorro going out on track for his last run, and that was a very good lap from Sergat. Now, who is currently on a fly? It's going to be Hugo, and did I see 6/10 improvements on this lap? It's not going to be good enough for provisional pole, but definitely good enough to potentially get him into the top 6 of this race. Only time will tell as DRS is activated now. He crosses the line. P10 will change to only P9 on a 1:28.2. What about his teammate of Elite Hound? Crossing the finish line, currently occupying the last row of this grid. Goes quick enough for P12. Now it's going to be the hash of the almighty Grog as the DRS wing goes open and he sets off for his last flyer, who is currently on a flying lap. It's not going to be Hugo, so I believe it is going to be Elite Hound and Grog. So as Elite Hound now makes his way through the flick left-right corners, that will compromise a lot of lap time. But I think, no, he's not giving the toe to his teammates. So I think that might mean that Elite Hound will be out of qualifying as he made a couple of mistakes through the very quick left-right corners of Sector 1. But what about Grog? He's up 600ths of a second on his time already. Takes a beautiful line going into turns 11. And let's see, can Grog get that hash? Currently sat in P7 for the constructors on 22 points, up into the top 5. If there's anyone that can do it, it's Grog. So as he now makes his way out of Sector 2, will we see improvement on his time? Yes, we will, by 3/10 already. And that means that will be good enough. No, not for P9. He'll stay P10 as things stand. So as Grog now goes into the final couple of bends of this extremely narrow, fast track. Gets onto the throttle beautifully as Grog. DRS will be activated. And will this be good enough for at least a potential P9? As he crosses the line, he does go P9. And Grog's qualifying comes to an end. Next to cross the line, it will be Zorro not improving at the moment. What about the Williams of, is it going to be Pro Striker? Yes, it is. Going into the pits, no improvements. So all eyes will now go to Pink Eye and Zorro. Zorro does have provisional pole for the moment, but can Pink Eye deny him? Already 1/10 up on his time. Oh, gets wheel spin. That lap time will be compromised, and I believe that will throw him out of the contention for even a P3 start. Zorro right behind his teammate, Pink Eye, making a mistake, making contact with the barriers. You'll see him entering this corner extremely slow, but he will give the toe to Zorro. But Zorro goes into the pits. Now the only driver left is No Fandangle as he crosses the line and stays P7. And that brings an end to your qualifying session as Zorro takes an extra point for Mercedes. That means Ferrari not leading Mercedes by 4 points anymore. Make that 3 as an extra point goes the way of Mercedes, with Zorro getting that provisional pole position. So before the start of this session, Ferrari was leading Mercedes by 4 points, now only leading them by 3 points. What a great lap that was from Zorro, but almost getting that car in pole position was Sergat. As we now just wait for this to finish so that we can see the race classifications. It's going to be Zorro putting that Mercedes on provisional pole positions. Technic Dash will drop down the order, followed by Grog with that 5 grid place penalties. Sergat occupying the first grid of this the first grid slot of this race. Technic Dash and Pink Eye gets the second row, followed by No Fandangle and Loki on the third row. Threads and Pro Striker in 7th and 8th, followed by Grog and Hugo. Spyroos and Elite Town will slot in the 5th row of this grid, followed by Claymore and Nerfback. JPE will start at the back of the grid without setting a time in qualifying. We will be right back for the sprint after this. As the 5 lights go out, we are underway in Jeddah. And as you can see, when it's raining, it's pouring. And we are off in Jeddah as Zorro gets a great start off the line. And unfortunately for Sergat, dropping down the order after starting second, No Fandangle with an absolutely beautiful start is currently driving in P2 for the moment. Now runs wide. Does that open up the door for Pink Eye? Just a couple of tenths behind him. We will have 9 laps of sprint racing. Threads and Technique going at it, followed by the 2 hasses of Loki and Grog. Spyroos already almost 2 seconds down the grid, followed by Hugo, Claymore, JPE, Elite Town, Nerfback and Sergat. Zorro is leading this race already by 1.2 seconds in a very wet Jeddah. So these setups will be for the dry race that hopefully will be a dry race. But down the order as we go, we will see that No Fandangle got an absolute stellar of a start, starting in P5, getting himself up into P2, just keeping his nose clean with the contact of Sergat, currently now running in P14. And anybody that finishes this race in this order, that will be your starting pack for the race. As we know, go down the back straight. It's going to be Zorro with a 1.4 second lead. No Fandangle. And here comes Pink Eye. Will he be late on the brakes going into 27? Yes, he will. You'll have the inside line, but I think No Fandangle will have much better acceleration and grip as Pro Striker has a split moment, just backs out as Technic Dash now goes through. And here, Pink Eye did get the position on No Fandangle, but he will be forced to go the long way around into 1 and 2. He backs out, and that's a smart decision as you see the back of that Mercedes just battling with the wet conditions as Pro Striker concedes another position, 2 threads, and now Grog will be on the charge. Sir Gat, in the meantime, going wheel to wheel with Elite Sound. He does sneak the position into P13. He goes. Zorro, 2.4 seconds clear of Pink Eye. We do have yellow flags as Pink Eye runs a little bit wide. Through goes Fandangle, through goes Threads, through goes Technic, and your championship leader concedes to Pro Striker as well as he blasts its way past 2 cars in 1 corner. He's up into P4, and that's how you return to race winning ways. Pro Striker up into P4. Zorro is absolutely cruising out in front, 3.6 seconds clear. Closest battles on track will be Technic Dash battling out with Pink Eye for the moment. True Loki just keeping himself honest in P7 with Grog currently occupying the last points of this sprint race. As we now have Threads having a little bit of a moment, might have been wheel spin. Now he concedes a couple of positions, running wide into turns 24 and 25. Now flat out to 26. No, not flat out. It's raining, of course. Threads contacts with the barriers, and that he compromises himself, drops down the order. Pro Striker goes into P2. No Fandangle right behind him, and now True Loki trying to make the move on Pink Eye as well. He is dumping battery all the way. Pink Eye has to concede the position now to True Loki as he's got the inside. Will he try the little switch around now? Will he run a little bit more wide? It seems that Loki is struggling for traction. Pink Eye gets beautiful acceleration off the line, but now the very difficult overtaking spot of turns 5. He doesn't go for it. Technic right behind him, followed by Grog just keeping himself honest, and True Loki jumping from P7 to P4 in the moment of 1 sector as No Fandangle now runs wide, and that opens up the door for Pink Eye once more, but he almost runs into the back of him around the outside now. Goes, he's off. Grog keeping his nose clean, making contact with Grog, and that costs him damage. And the stewards will be busy with that. Grog just trying to keep his nose clean. A lot of drivers, 3 abreast going at it, makes contact, and a lot of drivers losing out on positions as now, no, Pink Eye makes contact. He spins around. Absolute chaos in the rain. Zorro's extending his gap by 6 seconds. Pro Strike in the comfortable 2, and True Loki for tier 2 is in P3, followed by Technic. No Fandangle, Claymore goes 6, JPE Spyroos, poor Grog. That wasn't his fault, has to pay the ultimate price as Hugo blasts past Spyroos, and now currently it is going to be Pink Eye that's 22 seconds off the race leaders at the moment. 1.8 seconds in front of him is going to be Nerfback. Now let's see, will Grog go into the pits? No, he won't. But he does have damage on that left end plate of his. What about Pink Eye? Don't see damage on that Mercedes, but not too sure about the underbody. So drivers not opting to go very cautiously into the wet Jeddah circuits. A lot of contact being made and a lot of drivers losing out on positions. We are up into lap 4 and Zorro is dominating this race. So now going down the order, currently in P8 is Hugo. JP is fighting it out with Claymore as he now sneaks around the inside, going into turns 11, sorry. But look at the grip that Claymore has around the outside, and he gets back up into P6. What a move from Claymore around the outside in that Alfa Romeo. Going down the order, Sergat currently occupying P10, followed by Grog, Nerf on 81% battery compared to Pink Eye on 67% battery. And it looks like Nerfback is having a little bit of a little bit of a moment with wheel spin around this very wet Jeddah circuit. Claymore and JPE cannot be separated, still going at it as JPE gets back past Claymore. And look at this, it seems as though Claymore is lacking for straight line speed as Spyroos goes through, Hugo goes through, and hopefully no contact will be made as Spyroos goes the long way around, gets better acceleration, but Claymore wants to get right back at them as True Loki moves himself up into P2, but Pro Striker being late on the brakes gets the position back. Now it's a battle between Loki and Pro Striker. Hugo and Claymore. Claymore conceding positions, now running in P9. We do have yellow flags, and that will be Sir Gat spinning around, which means Grog will get a free position. And where's Pink Eye now? Going wheel to wheel with Nerfback. Sir Gat back up into P14. True Loki and Pro Striker keeping each other extremely humble. And it's going to be a battle for the podium positions for the sprint race between these two. Elite Town now gets a 3-second time penalty, and Grog also sitting with a 3-second time penalty of his own. Hugo currently battling it out with Spyroos, and 2 seconds behind them is Claymore. Now he seems to be limping for straight line, because down the back straight a lot of drivers blasted their way past him. Now Pro Striker on 6% battery, Loki still on 46%, which means down this back straight Pro Striker will be limping as they go wheel to wheel. Pro Striker's got the inside line. Will he push Loki a little bit wide? Each other respecting their space, and through they go. But now Loki will make use of battery as well as the toe, and before they move past the cross finish line, Loki gets into P2. Pro Striker now gets into his toe. In the meanwhile, Hugo going at it with Spyroos as well, but Spyroos seems to be having more straight line speed and battery to his disposal. Up into lap 6 already. Contact being made between Spyroos and Hugo. That'll compromise lap times. Hugo now trying to get back. That means Claymore will gain with mistakes being made out in front, and Spyroos still has a 3-second time penalty. Technique Dash going at it with True Loki. Technique Dash running a little bit wide. He will now put the pressure back on Pro Striker. Pro Striker back up into P2. We have more yellow flags, and that will be Hugo who ran into the barriers, and that's damage as well as a virtual safety car. So Pink Eye now back up into P9, which means one more position to get past Claymore, currently 2.1 seconds behind. So not too sure what happened between True Loki and Pro Striker and Technic, but Pro Striker getting P2 back, Technic Dash getting into the podiums, and True Loki currently now sat in P4. Zorro has a commanding lead of 11 seconds, and he can just cruise his way to victory. We still have the virtual safety car. Pink Eye currently sat 1.4 seconds behind Claymore as JPE gets a drive-through penalty that he serves now, as well as no Fandangle, which means Claymore and Pink Eye, followed by Grog, Nerfback and Elite Town, will get 2 free positions as both Ferrari drivers get a drive-through penalty. Definitely not what they would have wanted. Pink Eye back up into P7, right on the rear of Claymore now. Spyroos still has a 3-second time penalty that he has to deal with. He currently will keep P5 because he is 6.2 seconds clear of Claymore. But one mistake will mean that the rest of them will catch up. We are up to lap 7. Pink Eye going at it with Claymore. He blasts his way past, back up into P6. And that's a good redemption day and good Oh, hang on. Claymore's trying to get back at him. He's got a little bit of wheel spin, and he still has 100% of his battery to his disposal as well. He just backs out now. The rear end of that car sliding out for Pink Eye. Claymore gets a beautiful exit. He does not dump on battery. He's still on 100% of ERS to his disposal. He just backs out once more. True Loki and Pro Striker going at it as Technic Dash moves his way up into P2. True Loki and Pro Striker going at it. True Loki gets a beautiful acceleration off the line, and he's got more battery to his disposal as well. Going down the order, Pink Eye is putting some distance between him and Claymore, who is now slowly but surely starting to use that battery pack of his, as Loki gets past Pro Striker as well, but Pro Striker will get back at him as he gets better traction off the line. But Loki, no, Loki makes contact. Pro Striker makes contact with Loki. We have damage. True Loki does have damage on that Alfa Romeo, on that Haas of his. He's struggling through these corners. Wheel-to-wheel action going on between Pro Striker and True Loki. True Loki making contact with the barriers, and I believe he will have damage. Only minor damage on that Haas of True Loki. So almost 1 second separating Pink Eye and Claymore as Pink Eye gets more wheel spin, and Claymore now trying to get back at him. He's still on 100% battery, and Pink Eye runs wide, which means Claymore will now sneak the inside back up into P6. True Loki and Pro Striker still going at it. Loki trying to get back at Pro Striker. And as Zorro now makes his way into the main straight, we will be on the last lap before he wins the sprint, before he will win this sprint race. Claymore and Pink Eye still going at it. Claymore still on 100% battery to his disposal. Pink Eye trying to sneak his way through around the very wet Jetta. He just loses the rear end, but he keeps it on track. And now the both of them starting to dump. But it seems as though Claymore is low on fuel. You'll see the red light flashing on that Alfa Romeo of his. Not too sure if he's running low on fuel. Now it's a drag race between the two of them. JPE going wheel to wheel with Nerfback, followed by No Fandangle, followed by Sir Gadler, long way down the road. Claymore and Pink Eye going at it. It's wheel to wheel action going into 1 and 2. Pink Eye has to go the long way around, and here comes Elite Hound as well. He's getting back into this fight. Nerfback going at it with Threads. Threads sneaking the position. Elite Hound currently sitting in the last point for this sprint race. It's Claymore versus Pink Eye. Having a very lonely race out in front is Zorro. 13 seconds clear as he makes his way into the final sector now. Pink Eye and Claymore going at it. He's dumping all the way. As they go into 11. Pink Eye's got the inside. Claymore's got the traction. Claymore's got the position once more. But what about Elite Hound? What about JPE? Spyro still having that time penalty. And now making his way down the main straight is Zorro. He wins the sprint race for Mercedes. And Mercedes with that is leading the constructors. Going back down the order. It's Claymore versus Pink Eye. Pink Eye blasts his way through. Claymore has to concede positions. Technic Dash does finish P2. Pro Striker will take P3 on his return, followed by True Loki. And Spyro's, even with penalties, will finish in P5. But now what happens to Claymore as he drops to P10? And Elite Hound is going wheel to wheel with JPE, pushing him into the barriers. JPE goes wide. Elite Hound gets the position back once more. But here comes Threads. Aggressive on the throttle. It's a sprint race for the last point as Threads will take that last point, but due to penalties JPE moves his way back up and Pink Eye has to do damage limitations on a P6. What an absolutely phenomenal sprint race that was. So with this sprint race, Mercedes currently on 72 points With the addition of the sprint points, they will now be on 83 points, which means Mercedes is now leading the constructors over Ferrari. Well, that was extremely interesting, as Pro Striker does get driver of the day for the sprint race, but my personal opinion, after absolutely dominating this sprint race, sneaking 8 positions and just helping Mercedes get back up into the lead on the constructors, Zorro slots that Mercedes up into P1, followed by Technic Dash for Tier 2, getting a very impressive P2. Pro Striker comes home to take third, followed by True Loki, dominating performance from him as well, finishes in P4, followed by Spyro's, Pink Eye, Threads, and JPE for Ferrari. Gets that lonely single point for Ferrari to push them up to 76 points. So that will be the grid for the main race. Will we see any safety cars? Only time will tell. We'll be right back for the main race. As we wait for the start of this race, I think the drivers will be extremely excited to see that this race is going to be dry. That means it'll be much more racing as the lights goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As the lights goes out, I hope you guys are ready for this because we are racing in Jeddah. Pro Striker gets a beautiful blast down the straight on those soft tires, but Zorro has the inside. No contact this time around as Pro Striker is leading the race, followed by Zorro. Pro Striker, it's a drag race. Pro Striker leads, followed by Zorro, followed by Loki. Here comes Pink Eye, already in P4. Down the order, absolutely everybody getting off the line beautifully, and we are racing on a very dry Jeddah circuit with none other than Pro Striker leading the Grand Prix. But here comes Zorro right back at him. It's going to be no Fandangle, the only driver opting to go on the hard compound tires. The majority of the grid going for a mixture of soft tires versus medium tires. And it's only going to be no Fandangle playing the long game. As we have Pro Striker leading the race, followed by Zorro, who tries to get back at him around the long way around. Pro Striker will have the inside line, but they make contact. He pushes Zorro wide. He won't take the inside back. He closes the door. Was that late moving? Loki tries to come through, and here comes Pink Eye around the outside. He gains past 1. Will he make it 2? It's 2 abreast going into the final quarter of Pro Striker versus Zorro. Loki versus Pink Eye. Pink Eye gets a beautiful acceleration off the line. He goes up into P3. Zorro retakes the lead before lap 1 even ends. Zorro leads the race. Here comes Pro Striker right back at him. He goes late on the brakes on those softs. Contact was made, but Zorro keeps it on track. Now he's trying to get the inside. Pink Eye and Loki challenging each other. And here comes Malthreads as well. He will have the inside going into 5. No, just backs out. Absolute scenes at the start of this race. Pink Eye blasting his way, followed by Pro Striker, who now runs wide. That means it opens up the door for Pink Eye. It will be a drag between him and Pro Striker, but here's Loki. He tries to get into the middle of the two of them. He goes the long way around. Pink Eye moves that Mercedes up into P2, and now it's a battle between Loki and Pro Striker. Down the order, we have Grog versus No Fandangle on those hards, doing a very good job to keep with the soft runners in front of him. Threads and Spyro's are going at it. Threads trying to find a way past Spyro's. He won't do it into this sequence of corners. No, he won't. Look at the acceleration of these cars through these quick corners. Flicking left, flicking right, doing everything they can. As here comes Loki. Absolutely manhandling his energy out in front, followed by Pro Striker as well. Zorro for the second lap now will lead, and it's going to be a DRS straight forming from P1. We have Pinkai following Zorro, who's being hunted by Pro Striker, who's being hunted by Loki, who's being hunted by Threads, who's being hunted by Spyros, who's being hunted by Technic, who's being hunted by JPE, who's being hunted by No Fandangle, and Sir Gat's in the hunt, and Grog's in the hunt. Don't throw out Hugo. It's a DRS straight going from P1 to P12, and it is hunting season down in Jeddah. Absolute scenes. Can they keep the gaps as Sir Gat is blasting his way through, flicking right, flicking left, going at it now with No Fandangle. He's going to be forced to go the long way around, and as we've seen, it seems like the best way to overtake, because you will get more traction and acceleration as he does, sneaks the position, and he will have the inside now as Dangle just backs out, being forced wide, takes the runoff area, and here comes Grog as well. Look at this from the perspective of Hugo. It's 2 abreast, 3 abreast going at it. Who will have the ball? Who will be bold? Who will be brave? It will be Hugo, but he will compromise a lot of entry going into this sequence of corners. Just backs out. Grog up into P9. Dangle uses DRS, gets back up into P9. Beautiful racing down here in Jeddah. True Loki concedes 2 Threads, who moves up into P4. It's a Mercedes 1-2 for the moment. Grog in the tow, in the DRS, using the energy. And before they go into 1, he's back up into P9. As we go up the order now, it's going to be Threads versus Pro Striker. Pro Striker gets a bad exit into those sequence of corners. Oh, as Threads runs wide. Here comes Loki. Pink Eye takes the lead of the race, and I think that was gifted to him by his teammate. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant team orders being played here in Jeddah as Pink Eye is leading the Grand Prix, and he will extend his championship over Stinjap, who's absent tonight, as Technic has a bit of a moment and he goes off. Hugo is hunting Gat, who's hunting Dangle, who's hunting Grog, and Grog 2.4 seconds away from Spyros, who's hunting down JPE, and Loki trying to get back at Threads. Pro Striker still within touching distance in the DRS of Zorro, and Zorro, I don't think he is going to challenge his teammate. No, he doesn't. You don't even see the rear wing open on that Mercedes. So he will be backing up the grid, and we see beautiful teamwork from Mercedes here. I think the team will now swap the cars around. So these two will be assisting each other with DRS. Beautiful teamwork down here in Jeddah as Pro Striker will run out of straight. He has to back out. Dangle going at it with Grog. Back up into P9 for Dangle. But here comes Hugo, who's very aggressive, very late on the brakes. He makes contact with Dangle, and that means we have yellow flags, but no safety car. And I think Hugo was a little bit too overeager going into 1. Sir Gat now back up into the points. He's chasing down Grog, he's chasing down No Fandangle, who's doing an absolutely beautiful job on those hards. And that means once those hards goes off, he will be blistering quick on a brand new set of softs as Grog goes wheel to wheel with Sir Gat. But Sir Gat, with better exit, he goes back up into P9, and we do have more yellow flags, and that's Hugo making contact with the barrier, and he's got some serious damage on that front wing of that McLaren. True Loki on his set of softs. Sir Gat, in the meantime, getting past Dangle as well now. Sir Gat moves it back up into P8. True Loki trying to get the position done on Pro Striker now, who's running in P4. Threads hunting down Pink Eye. Pink Eye just within the DRS of Zorro. He will not go for the move now. These two are absolutely doing a beautiful job fending off the rest of the pack. We are up into lap 6 of 25. No Fandangle and Sir Gat still going at it. He just has to back out. And look at the wheel spin of Sir Gat. Gets a bad exit. It opens up the door right again for No Fandangle, and he moves himself back up into P8. But now he gets a bad exit, as well as Sir Gat, and Grog gets back up into P9. These guys exchanging positions like it's no one's business. JPE now putting the pressure on Pro Striker. And Ferrari for JPE needs to get back into this, because at the moment, Mercedes will have a 1-2, and they will be dominating the constructors, and Pink Eye will be leading the championship over Stinjap with his absence tonight, as we have contact. Pro Striker, JPE, contact, and that's a yellow flag, and that's a safety car. We caught that on stream, and massive damage going on Pro Striker and JPE. Not too sure what happened there, but what a massive impact that was between Ferrari and Williams. And just speaking about JPE, that he needs to up the pace and get that Ferrari up the order as quickly as possible. Commentator Skirts strikes again, and contact was made. No front wing on the Ferrari, no front wing on the Williams, and you can only imagine if there's going to be side pod damage on or underfloor damage on those cars. We do have a safety car. Loki decides he's going to pit. Zorro pits as well. Threads and Pink Eye, they decide that they are going to stay out. Now, will this mean that they will be extremely vulnerable from all the other cars will be on a brand new set of tires? Grog off the track position. Claymore goes for track position. Zorro into the pits for softs. Loki goes for hard, so he's going to go the extreme distance. Followed by Spyrus on the mediums. Pro Striker going for a brand new set of softs. No, mediums. And massive contact made between Pro Striker and JPE. Pro Striker rejoins this race only in P12, and JPE rejoining in P10. So the only drivers that decided that they will not go into the pit, it's going to be Pink Eye, Threads, No Fandangle, Grog, and Claymore. And I have to say, from the perspective of the battles that Grog has had and No Fandangle has had, what an absolutely beautiful race these guys have had up to this point. But now, how vulnerable will they be? Especially from the attack of an extremely quick Zorro on a brand new set of softs. Question, will those softs go the distance? I don't think so. So I think Zorro will be hoping for another safety car, because I think if he gets the job on these drivers, he will be extremely quick. Did Pink Eye just miss the pit window? The Mercedes drivers were next to each other extremely close. They wouldn't have been able to double stack, which means Zorro got the best out of that situation. Goes into the pit for a brand new set of softs, but how vulnerable will Pink Eye be, as he will be desperate to win this race, claim a second race victory in PVR history and Season 1. As we just wait for Hugo to catch up to the back of this grid, the safety car will be in by the end of this lap. know if there is any predictions in chat for everyone view spectating. Who do you think will win this Grand Prix? Who do you think will have the best opportunity to claim maximum points? Of course, Zorro did win the sprint race. Pink Eye only managing a P6. He is leading the championship over 3 points from Stinjap in his absence here tonight. And how much will this come back to hurt Stinjap missing out on the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix? The safety car will be in by the end of this lap, and Pink Eye will be leading the field, followed by Malthreads, who's had an absolutely beautiful race up to this point. No Fandangle, who's definitely in contention for driver of the day, along with Grog himself. But let's not throw Claymore out of the equation. Everybody will have to be cautious for a very quick Zorro on this race restart on a brand new set of softs, followed by True Loki on hards, Spyrus Lee Town, JPE making contact with Pro Striker. Not too sure what happened there, but as we jump to the front of the grid, when will we see Pink Eye accelerate and get us back in under racing conditions? We will wait, and we are off once more to start lap 9, and the race continues. You'll see Malthreads getting into the toe of Pink Eye. Wants to get himself up into P1. Here comes Dangle, here comes Grog. Zorro already claiming the position on Claymore. Spyro's going at it now with Claymore, just backs out. Down the order, we do have wheel-to-wheel contact action between the Elite Town and JP. JP backs out, Elite Town runs wide, concedes not one, not two, but a lot of positions as he goes around. He spins, he drops to the back of the grid. True Loki already with a 3-second time penalty. No, that will be Spyro's, my mistake. Zorro in the meantime going wheel-to-wheel with Grog. He will have much better grip, and he goes up into P4. Grog driving in a solid P5 at the moment. No Fandango positioning that car beautifully just to cover off this extreme attack from Zorro. But now through these tight corners that comes at you extremely quick, it's wheel-to-wheel action between Zorro and Dangle. As you see the helicopter view going at it, no Fandangle trying to get the position back at Zorro. He backs out. Zorro goes back up into P4. Beautiful racing between the two of them as Elite Hound now gets a penalty as well. Here comes Grog. He wants to join in this battle as well. Beautiful sceneries down here in Jeddah as JPE and Loki goes at it, and now JPE gets back into the points. No, True Loki just defends him off. Great stuff from these two. You'll see he's closing, he's dumping battery. Loki positioning that car into the middle of the field. And here comes Claymore as well, making contact with Spyrus in the meantime as well. Spyrus goes through. JPE going at it with Loki. Loki runs wide, he will compromise his exit, but now he can position that car in the middle of the track and defend JPE off. We have more yellow flags. Elite Town retires from the session in the pit lane, so no safety cars. Going up the order, we have Threads and Malthreads and Zorro going at it. Zorro back up into P2, and Pink Eye will not be challenging his teammates. It took Zorro about 1 lap to get that car back up into P2, and now he will switch around the inside, and Pink Eye will not be fighting this from his teammate at all. But now he needs to be cautious because Threads is going at it, and it's going to be tight. Who's going to be brave? Who's going to be bold? Malthreads compromises his exit as Pink Eye goes back up into P2. More yellow flags. And you have to be so cautious going late on the brakes into turns 24, 25 because you will compromise your exit. As Loki goes at it with his teammate, and here comes Gat. He wants to get back at it, sneaks the position on JPE as well. Is Loki hunting Grog? Grog hunting no Fandangle. And they will be vulnerable. Here comes Loki. On his teammate of Grog, he goes late on the brakes, but Grog gets beautiful drive out of the exit of the corner. JPE gets a little bit of wheel spin. Here comes Gat. Through goes no Fandangle as well. Everybody battling, everybody down in the midfield of this track. Zorro already 1.8. 2 seconds clear, 2.3 seconds clear, as Melthreads gets past Pink Eye now. Sir Gat and True Loki going at it. True Loki backs out. It opens up the door for JP as well. True Loki concedes not 1 but 2 positions. Make that 3 because here comes Spyro's. But what about Technic? Will he lose out on 4 positions? Yes, he will. But Technic makes contact with the barriers. Loki takes the run-off area. He drops 4 positions. Driving in P6, 6. Now up into P10. As Pink Eye and Threads are still going at it. Wheel to wheel. Melthreads almost under braking as well, but Pink Eye just concedes. But now with DRS, Melthreads on 30% battery left. Pink Eye is gaining, but Threads will have DRS as Grog battling JPE. Goes on the brakes. JPE up into P6. Here comes Spyro's. It's DRS battling going on. JP is limping down the straight. Will Spyro's go late on the brakes? No, just backs out. Grog riding in P8. And True Loki conceding a lot of positions. Technic Dash making contact of the barriers. Into the pits he goes. And into the pits goes Loki as well. And a new set of mediums will go on both cars as well as a new front wing. Both of them making their way out of the pits. Technic will rejoin this race in P12. No, here comes Pro Striker driving down in P12. Technic rejoins in P13 and True Loki will join in P14. Going back up the order, we have more battling going on. It's Dangle trying to keep Sir Gat behind him on 11 lap hard tires. But Gat's got the pace, he's got the grip, but Dangle is doing an absolute stellar of a job. Pink Eye is limping. Here comes Dangle. Gat runs wide once more. Through goes Spyro's on Sir Gat. And Grog also can now sneak the position as he got a much better speed. We have yellow flags into Sector 2. Who will that be? That's going to be Pro Striker, but no safety car. And your top 4 is in serious trouble because all 4 still, no, not your top 4. Pink Eye in second, Melthreads in third, Dangle in fourth. Here comes JPE, very aggressive on the brakes on his teammate. Will he try to make the move around the outside? No, just runs out of room to battle. Threads and Pink Eye going at it through a very tight turn 5. That's brave from the both of them. 7 seconds up the road, it is Zorro. Spyro's now on 3 second time penalty. Pink Eye back up into P2. Melthreads on 30% battery tries to get back at him as he does. And down the order, we have more cars battling it out. It's a DRS train forming from P3 all the way down to P8. Claymore, Nerf Pack, Hugo battling it out. Hugo gets way bad acceleration out of that corner, almost making contact with the barriers. 1.4 seconds off the pace of Nerf Pack at the moment as Sir Gat makes the position, gets past JPE in the meantime. More yellow flags. Pro Striker retires from this race. Yellow flags. Wait for it. Virtual safety car only. And surely now they have to make use of the virtual safety car to go into the pits for a new set of tires. They will drop down the order. Yes, they will. Threads will. Pink Eye will. Dangle will. But they will not lose on as much time as they normally would. So let's see. What will they be doing? Zorro definitely pits again. Threads decides for track position. Pink Eye goes into the pits as we have green flags once more. And a lot of drivers making the use of the pit. So, and luckily for Pink Eye, luckily for Zorro and everybody driving out in front, a lot of drivers deciding to pit with him. But now, Threads is leading this Grand Prix, followed by Sir Gat on 7 lap, old medium tires that will go the distance. JPE into the podium, Spyro's into 4, Nerf Pack up into 7, Zorro into P6, Dangle goes 7, Pink Eye on hards goes 8, Grog now on a set of new softs that will go the distance. And the question is, when will Threads opt to go into the pits? At the moment, No Fandangle driving in P7 is 23 seconds off the race leader. Pink Eye 24, Grog 27, Claymore 29. So if Threads has to pit now on a 20-second time, 20 seconds lost in the pits, he will come out in P7. Gat goes through. Sir Gat, for the first time this season, is leading the Grand Prix. Right, so Threads deciding that he will not go into the pits. He will extend his stint. So currently it's going to be Zorro, 10 seconds off the pace of the race leader. No Fandangle, 23 seconds off the race leader. So Sir Gat, at the moment, is extending the gap of Threads that is behind him, and Threads still has to make a pit stop as True Loki now sets the new fastest lap of this race. Of course, the fastest lap in Tier 2 was a 1 minute 29.9 set by Derry. That still has to be beat here tonight as Technicash decides to retire into the pits. That's his race over. Sir Gat had now not as a commanding lead, but he is out of DRS from Threads, who still yet has to pit. Where is Zorro? He's right on the rear of Nerfpack now, who gets much better traction and grip out of those corners. And now it's going to be a sprint race between the two of them. But Zorro does have DRS and he's got the fresher tires. Going into 24-25, he's got the grip, he's got the pace. And see you later, he says. He moved himself back up into P5. 11 seconds down the road from Nerfpack will be No Fandangle. And with 10 laps to go, they will have to catch him by more than a second a lap. Threads decides that he will not pit. Sir Gat currently has a 6/10 lead and advantage over Threads. JP in the Ferrari currently stuck in P3 at the moment. 3 seconds down the road from him is Spyroos, but Spyroos does have a penalty, and Zorro is gaining on Spyroos, currently stuck in P5. No Fandangle, who's had an absolute marvelous race up so far, going into the pits in P7, and Pink Eye, championship leader, in P8. Grog on those softs, now currently occupying P9. And the race now slowly but surely settling down. The closest battle on track will be Pink Eye on Dangle, as well as Threads versus Gat. So if there has to be yellow flags at this time and point of the race, it will be self-inflicted. A lot of gaps out on track. So just now that things have settled down, with the fastest lap of the race thus far, by True Loki on a 1 minute 30.6. The fastest lap of Tier 2 yet to be broken on a 1 minute 29.9 set by Derry, of course, as Spyroos and Zorro goes at it, and Zorro moves his way back up into P4. Currently 20 seconds off the race leader is No Fandangle, who's being pressurized by Pink Eye. This is the battle for P7, of course. Zorro currently 7 seconds off the pace of the race leader. Can he catch up and potentially get himself a race win over Sir Gat for Team Red Bull? Spyroos is sitting with an 8 seconds worth of penalties, of course. No Fandangle has got 22% of battery to his disposal, followed by Pink Eye who's on 80%. So if Pink Eye decides to go for the overtake eventually, he will have the pace advantage over Dangle, who's sitting with 22% battery at the moment. JPE and Threads are going at it, just missing out on that, and JPE now moves his way back up into P2. Just going to the position changes of Sir Gat. He managed to start his way way down the order. Starting in P12, now up into P1. Also a definite contender for driver of the day. JPE gaining 6 positions and Threads as well. Threads and JPE still battling it out for that podium of P2. Now, 3.5 seconds down the road from Threads will be Zorro. Definitely in the hunt, not only to get onto the podiums, but potentially win this race, as Pink Eye and Dangle are still going at it. Pink Eye now goes the long way around. Dangle, will he come back at him? No, he won't. Still on 25% battery, and Pink Eye, championship leader, back up into P7, now runs wide, but Dangle runs wide with him. Zorro now only 5.5 seconds off the race leader. No Dangle and Pink Eye still 19 seconds off the race leader. Hugo and Claymore at the back of the pack, currently occupying P11 and P12. Hugo battling it out with Claymore. 5 tenths behind him, of course. Sir Gat is set to win this Grand Prix if he can keep it together, but Zorro is on the charge. Dangle and Pink Eye is still going at it. Grog now running a very lonely race in P9 and through Loki, currently in P10. Hugo and Claymore going at it, and Hugo blasting his way past into P12. Unfortunately not the points, as Malthreads finally goes into the pits for his pit stop. Zorro goes back up into the podiums. Now where is Pink Eye? Making his way down the main straight, followed by Dangle as well. Nerfback being hunted down by Pink Eye. Spyroos 5.2 seconds clear from them, and Threads making his way out of the pits right about now. Will he rejoin in front of Loki? It's the rush for true Loki. He gets back up into P9 on a brand new set of soft tires. Pink Eye back up into P5. Zorro goes into P2, just getting past JP now, and only 6 laps to go. Does Sir Gat have the pace to win this Grand Prix? No Fandangle now going wheel to wheel with Nerfback. He will go the long way around, and we've seen many overtake tonight being done around, taking the long way around into turn 7, and he goes around and he gets the position. Nerfback will try to fight this back as No Fandangle runs a little bit wide, but Nerfback also compromises his exit. Dangle back up into 6, Pink Eye back up into P5. Next up the picking order for him will be Spyroos with 8 seconds worth of penalties. Pink Eye now making his life difficult with 3 seconds of penalties as well. So on a Grand Prix where he could have extended his gap by a long way, ruined by the safety car, opting not to pit, Mercedes unable to double stack, running in P5, but now he will drop 2 positions from Threads and Nerfback, and potentially Dangle as well with the 3 seconds worth of penalties. Because Malthreads on a brand new set of softs is closing the gap on them. Sir Gat is leading this Grand Prix. Zorro is closing in very quickly on him. And with 5 laps remaining, can Zorro not only put the car in pole position, not only get sprint win, can he win this race and get absolutely maximum points down here in Jeddah tonight? Pink Eye going at it with no Fandangle. He did manage to put 2.4 seconds distance between the two of them, using a lot of that battery. But Malthreads is on the hunt. He's only 1.4 seconds away from Dangle. Grog going at it with Nerfback as Grog has the assistance of DRS. Just goes onto the brakes through the quick left-right section. And he gets the position up into P8. Nerfback concedes another position. Grog back up into P8. So this is the closest battle out on track, followed by Hugo and Claymore as well. Hugo trying to get the position done as Malthus gets the new fastest lap on a 1 minute 29.8, and that does break the record for the Tier 2 time, a 129.8 down here in Jeddah. It was held by Derry on a 129.9 for Tier 2 as Hugo finally makes his way now past Claymore. He goes back up into P11. Nerfback and Grog still going at it, and 1.8 seconds away from the race leader is Zorro on Sir Gat. Malthreads now on those new set of softs. Goes late on the brakes. He's known for going late on the brakes. He moves his way back up into P6. Gets a horrible exit. And Dangle, Reed takes the favor. Back up into P6 he goes. So Malthreads making use of the battery, making use of those brand new set of softs, just outbraking himself, has to concede that position. Will he go for the position now, going into the fast section of this track? Look at the acceleration, look at the grip. He will have DRS, and now it will be a sprint. Dangle versus Threads. Where will Dangle position that car? He lifts off the throttle and he allows him to go through. He knows there's no use battling that out any longer. Now, he just needs to catch Pink Eye, because Pink Eye is sitting with a time penalty. And 1.4 seconds down the road now from your race leader is Zorro. He just needs to get that car into DRS, and he will potentially win this Grand Prix with the assistance of DRS. As we have entered the 22nd lap of this race, can Sir Gat defend off a very, very quick Zorro who looks determined to win this for Ferrari, to lead them with the constructors? He's into DRS zone. He's into DRS now. As no Fandangle retires from the race, and we have a safety car. No, Dangle, having such a good race, has DNF'd, and he's out, which means Hugo goes into the points now. This is looking very good. Now, will Sir Gat have a free pit stop? There is 14 seconds between him and Spyroos. He doesn't go into the pits. He sells Zorro the little bit of the dummy. Zorro goes into the pits. JPE goes into the pits. Spyroos will go into the pits. And this means that Sir Gat has left himself extremely vulnerable as Spyroos makes contact with the barriers. And that is correct. No, Michael, no. Malthus gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pits. Pink Eye does opt to take track position. It's going to be Red Bull versus Mercedes. Zorro on a brand new set of soft tires. And I believe the safety car will be in by the end of this lap. We will have 2 laps of racing. And what does this mean for Sir Gat on 16-lap old medium tires? Should he have gone into the pits to pit for a brand new set of softs? Did he make himself very, very vulnerable from the attack from Pink Eye? Sir Gat, let's not forget the pace that JPE has brought to this race. Malthreads right back into it with True Loki as well. So your race leader and your championship leader, Sir Gat and Pink Eye, made life extremely difficult for themselves, opting not to pit for softs. And this one will go down to the wire. So will the safety car be in by the end of this lap? Yes, it will. So we will have 2 laps of racing remaining. Zorro right on the rear of Pink Eye. JPE in that Ferrari. Remember, it is a battle for the constructors. Mercedes versus Ferrari. Alfa Romeo right out of this at the moment. So when will Sergat opt to push? Grog now gets a 20-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Claymore with a 5-second time penalty with a severe collision with Threads. And look at the gap. He's going to leave it till the last, just before the line, as away we go once more. Can Sergat defend off Zorro, JP, Grog on brand new soft tires? For Team Red Bull, we would be hoping that he does. To be realistic, we don't know whether he will, but look at this. Grog goes through, not too sure what's happened with Pink Eye. Grog blasting his way through, not too sure what happened. We have yellow flags. Nerfback gets a 3-second time penalty. It's absolutely raining time penalties at the moment. And Sergat is 3.6 seconds clear already. He might win this Grand Prix. He might win the race. We have lost Claymore. We have lost Loki. Hugo with a 3-second time penalty. Pink Eye with a penalty. Spyro's still with 8 seconds worth of penalties. Grog is up into P2. Can Grog, the almighty Grog, win this race for Team Haas? Currently sitting in P7 in the Constructors. He will have 1 lap to do it. It's 17 lap old softs versus the new set of softs from Grog. Zorro way too far back to make inroads to get back into winning ways. It'll be a battle between him and JPE for the race win, but Pink Eye will be determined to keep him behind to make life easy for Zorro. He forces him the long way around. Grog has got 2.5 seconds to catch the race leader. Grog gaining 13 places of the race start. Sergat gaining 11 positions. Going down the order, we have more yellow flags as Nerfback now retires from the race. Pink Eye drops to P7. With that time penalty, Spyro still has 8 seconds worth of penalties. He's running out of time, is Grog. Can he catch up? He's pushing for all his might. Hugo gets past Pink Eye. Pink Eye in P8. Threads, what's happened? Yellow flags, Zorro and JP going at it. Sergat is looking set to win this race as he goes into the second sector. But Grog, can he do it? He's determined. Can the almighty Grog win this race? 1.4 seconds behind the race leader of Sergat. We have lost so many drivers in this Grand Prix that will compromise Grog's exit. Malthreads and Hugo going at it for P6 and P7, but now making his way around the final bend for Team Red Bull. This will do his confidence massively good, and it's going to go the way of Red Bull for the Constructors' Championship. As he makes his way around the final bend right now, Sergat wins the Jeddah Grand Prix. What's going on now? Not too sure what happened. Is it glitching again? Was there penalties? Alright, not too sure what happened there. According to me, Sergat did win the race. Grog came home in an impressive P2, followed by Zorro 1. Let's just make sure about the penalties here. I'm not too sure what happened. But it seems as though Zorro comes home to take P1. Just going to the race results. Didn't see Sergat getting any penalties. But anyways, Zorro takes fastest lap for Mercedes. desynced after the safety car. Okay. Zorro comes home to take P1, followed by JPE to take P2, followed by Sir Get, takes a very impressive P3 for Red Bull. The almighty Grog comes home to take P4, followed by Spyrus. Pink Eye, disappointing end for his race, finishes P6, followed by Hugo, Malthritz, and Nerfpack. Rest of the drivers all retired. And if I have to select now a driver of the day, sure. It's going to be extremely difficult for me to choose a driver of the day between these two. But I think after having a very big moment in the first lap of the sprint, dropping to the back, starting in P12 and managing to get a podium finish, I'm going to give driver of the day to Sir Gat from Team Red Bull. What an impressive drive it was from Grog, and JP getting that Ferrari up into the points. Zorro for Team Mercedes, that race win with Pink Eye also in the points means that Mercedes will be leading the championship over Ferrari. Red Bull making a comeback, Alfa Romeo dropping off the points, but what an impressive drive it was from Grog. Congratulations to your race winner, Zorro, absolutely dominating in the sprint, having a beautiful sprint race as well, having a beautiful main race, followed by JPE for Ferrari on that podium, as well as Sir Gat getting back up into podium ways. What a race that was. So congratulations to all drivers. That was interesting. And to everybody from PVR, I wish you a very beautiful night. Until we meet again, I'm Emola signing out for PVR Tier 1.